Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Likes, comments, and subscriptions are always appreciated as they do help out the channel immensely. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Bitcoin slips below $19,000 as sentiment remains bearish. I'm pretty sure you can see exactly where this is going. I mentioned in yesterday's video as compiling all the news that we had previously received over the last 3 days or so, that it looked like markets across the world would not be doing well. This one says Cardano price analysis. Risk of heavy losses below 40 cents. Not really. It's more of a things will go where they will go. A lot of times, a lot of people who write articles tend to write, there's a risk of heavy losses. Prices could collapse. And usually it's like a 2 or 3% price movement downward. Like a heavy loss would be like a 20% drop in the price of Cardano. This one says Ethereum price plunge to $1,150 on the horizon as bulls show weak hands. Yes, I'm sure that's exactly what's happening. Bulls are showing that they have extremely weak hands, and that's what's causing the market to move down. Prices are relatively stable for what actually took place in the news. So things aren't looking as bad. Once again, I think it's kind of another like, hey, look at where prices could potentially go if this thing actually ends up happening. We should all know, sorry if I'm spoiling the fun for you, you should be well aware and or bracing yourself for more losses, not only in crypto, but in every other market, as that's just what the world is currently actually going through right now. So any more drops or further movements downward in the crypto market should not shock you in any way, shape, or form. It says Terra Luna Classic gains by 5% in the last 24 hours. I think this has to do with Binance announcing, once again, it's every Monday, that they are, burning the coins from the taxation thing. They were one of the very few coins to actually go up in the last couple of hours, but then they started going back down once Bitcoin's momentum caught them as well. This was actually quite popular price news that it went up by a little bit as well. And then for some reason, the other half of the price news really revolves around where people think Bitcoin is going. It says Bitcoin whales accumulating as bear market floor is established. This was said by Glassnode. The general idea is that, and I mean, it does kind of make sense, but I'm not holding my breath, not even slightly, is that we've been getting a lot of news about the dollar index compared to other currencies, about inflation levels, about the stock market falling, about this happening, about that taking place on the other side of the world, etc., etc. And Bitcoin has remained relatively stable comparatively to what it was doing before. A lot of times we saw Bitcoin dropping by 8%, 9%, 12% over the course of a 2-day period. It was very dramatic. But now we're getting this news and Bitcoin kind of is moving down by 0.5% or 1%. And this is leading a lot of people to believe that we have found a floor, that people are not willing to sell explicitly under this number unless something, terrible should be going wrong. And usually once we hit a floor in prices, this is usually when the whales begin to hyper accumulate because they go, okay, we cannot get it any cheaper than this. And therefore, this is definitely the time to buy. This one says Bitcoin en route to 40x gains. This was said by an analyst who called the May 2021 Bitcoin collapse. I don't know if you've noticed the trend. This is quite popular. I don't know how these people get in contact with these other people. People make price predictions all the time. All the time. Like, it's not a new thing. So you've heard over the last couple of weeks when we go over price news, someone said Bitcoin is going to go to $100,000 by December. Somebody thinks Bitcoin's going to get $500,000 by the time we get to next summer. It's that kind of news always ends up happening. But there's always a person who ends up being correct, because if you throw out enough garbage, eventually one of them will be correct, if you want to put it that way. But it's happened all the time. Like, someone called the 2018 price drop because everyone was talking about that the price would eventually drop. And then when it did, everyone's like, see, I called it. I did it. Me over here. People were talking about a 2020 price drop. And that was after, logically, when we were all inside of our home. So it's kind of these things. However, anyway, dragging it back, of course, I think at some point Bitcoin will also have a 40x gains. It's probably just not going to be this year, if you haven't been paying attention to all the stuff that's actually been going on. People try to make this popular news. It shouldn't be, and here's why. For those of you not looking at the screen, it said, did Paul Tudor Jones change his Bitcoin price prediction? For those of you who don't know, Paul Tudor Jones is a billionaire. He is an advocate, believer in crypto, mainly in Bitcoin. He's talked about Bitcoin before, how it's great, it's going to change the world, it's absolutely incredible. He can't believe that it's around and people aren't paying attention to it, all those wonderful things. He basically mentioned, one, he did not change his price prediction. Two, he still has Bitcoin. And three, his price prediction was, I believe, $250,000 Bitcoin. He says we're still going to get there. It's just not as long as the world's events are currently taking place. Basically looking at the Fed and saying that their monetary policies are keeping Bitcoin's price down. So when I say that people were trying to make this news, there were so many people who were posting all over the place talking about like, oh my gosh, did Paul Tudor Jones leave Bitcoin? No, he didn't. Not at all. He's still here. He still has his Bitcoin. He believes it's going to go up very high in price. He's just saying that because of what the Fed is doing. It's not going to be happening anytime soon. Also, another one. Yeah, once again, I don't know why this news. How do I say it? Usually, if prices go down, the news that day is like, oh no, prices have gone down. But for some reason, there was a lot of like, oh, just wait for it. Prices are also going to go back up kind of news. It says hedge fund veteran Mark Yusko has doubled down on his $250,000 Bitcoin prediction despite a steep correction. Here's why: because he still believes in Bitcoin. There's nothing deep to dig inside there. He still has it. He still believes in it. He believes that once again, as well, once the Fed stops doing what they're doing, prices will rise. He thinks that a lot of the Bitcoin has been accumulated over the last couple of months, and therefore things will skyrocket, if you will, once we get back on the railroad track, back on the road. I don't know. Once things get better for the economy. Also, unsurprising, stocks fell. Again, yeah, I told you all that yesterday. I told you not to hold your breath because it was probably going to be a very bad week. I think that's what the title said. Very bad week ahead. It was because it's going to be probably a very bad week. I think we have indications that I think it's Thursday or Friday, the Federal Reserve is supposed to give a session, a meeting, a discussion, a panel talking, something where someone's going to stand on a soapbox and tell us exactly how bad inflation is, and people are afraid that the numbers are going to be high because they've been high. Regardless of what the Federal Reserve has done, our numbers have still looked absolutely terrible, and inflation keeps rising all over the place. So people are anticipating that the Fed is going to announce once again that inflation is high and that they're going to have to do something about it. Them having to do something about it is going to rattle markets for maybe another week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. We usually see a pre-gain in prices before we actually have the next Fed meeting, which I believe is scheduled for the 1st and 2nd of November, in which they are going to announce once again exactly how much they are going to be raising interest rates. So at the moment, stocks are falling because of the news, or the anticipation of the news, that we are going to have another interest rate hike. Asian markets right now are currently falling. It says the Sensex has shed 300 points. And the Nifty is down 100 points as well. The NASDAQ has tumbled to its lowest in 2 years. We can only assume this is on the back of everything that has been taking place. Yeah, so that's all the price news. Crypto prices are down. It's not that dramatic. It's like, 1 to 3%, somewhere around there. Luckily for us, we haven't had any like hyper devastating days, waking up, market's in red and is like down by 95%. And you're like, whoa, wrong market. So things are looking okay. once again, expect a volatile week. Do not let anyone tell you from any other channel that we are going to be experiencing a 40% rise, or this coin is about to pop, or this coin is about to do so and so, because they're looking at it on their chart. The only chart that actually matters is that one person who stands in front of all of us and tells us how much they're going to be raising interest rates. That's all that the world is paying attention to right now. Literally all that everyone's paying attention to. Yeah, that's all the price news. Stock market is down, expected to be down for the next couple of days. If that is down, as we have seen historically, at least this year and a half, the cryptocurrency market is also following suit. And yeah, let's move on. In the most popular news story of the day, crypto investors may soon be subject to taxation in Portugal, as the government has proposed a new tax policy for cryptocurrency. Portugal's policy shift from no crypto taxes to one where levies are charged on cryptocurrencies is set to enter another chapter as policymakers eye short-term crypto asset owners. The government is planning another form of cryptocurrency taxation that will broaden its existing crypto tax policy. So, for those of you who are unaware, I made a video about this last year on the other channel called Money Rules. I think it's called How to Pay No Taxes on Your Crypto. There are a couple of countries on this planet that have a 0% tax rate for cryptocurrencies. I know it sounds surprising, but yeah, 0%. You pay no taxes for holding your crypto. At the top of the list was Portugal, basically because they had the easiest. Basically, if you are a resident of Portugal, and that means like even if you are a citizen of somewhere else, but you reside in Portugal and have paperwork that says I am a resident here, you pay 0% taxes on your crypto, regardless of how you got it, when you got it, so and so and so. If you got it and you sell it, there's no taxes on it. I believe that Portugal believed that this would cause a cascade of money to flow into their country, which it did. I have a lot of friends who have moved there and were planning on moving there because of this 0% tax rate. You cannot beat the number 0. It's an incredible number when it comes to taxation. However, part of the issue, I believe, for the government is or was or has been that they wanted extra money. We had news earlier this year that they were going to simply tax it outright. And that got scrapped, scooped a day or two later, with tons of people in the industry who live in Portugal being like, nope, you're out of your mind. That is never going to happen. The new proposal, as far as I understand, is trying to tax people who hold their crypto for less than a year. So if you buy crypto and you sell it after 364 days, you then pay, I believe it's a 28% tax on it. If you hold it for 366 days and you sell it, then you pay 0% taxes. I assume that they're just trying to basically mimic what Germany does. For those of you who don't know, Germany is the second best place, I would say, in Europe for cryptocurrency taxation. And then after that, you kind of get to the Puerto Rico and other places like that, where they just have a simple 0% tax rate as well. According to Bloomberg, Portugal's government is moving forward with plans to tax profits on crypto held by residents for less than a year. This is part of the proposal listed in the country's budget for 2023. The move will see a 28% levy being imposed on gains earned from crypto held for less than 12 months. Part of the issue also is, it says it's somewhere around here, they're doing a bit too much at one time. The draft budget also stated that free crypto transfers, here we go, free crypto transfers will get a 10% tax. While commissions charged by brokers on such transactions will have a 4% tax. Right. Furthermore, crypto issuance and mining could also be subject to taxable income. If this goes through, people are simply going to leave Portugal, and I assume the government would try and backtrack once again. The issue, air quotes, being for the government is that every government is greedy. We can't sit here and be like, well, Portugal's the only one who's great. No. The idea is similar to Monaco and many other places, and Dubai, is that there's no income tax. The idea is the money you make is your money. However, everything you buy has very high taxes on it. The luxury cars you buy, the apartments you buy, everything you buy has a higher tax rate, and that's where the government skims extra off the top, and that's what ends up going into their pockets. I think the only way to get around this is a what you would call like a sin tax, not the math term. It's more of a like an SIN, like you tax things that people don't necessarily need. Like going to the Monte Carlo or going, to buy a luxury car or, other things like that. But I don't think that Portugal is going to be able to actually pull that off, or even more so, like make a tax on actual real estate. So there already is one, but more so, there's no 28% tax on your crypto, but there's an extra 2 or 3% tax on property over $150,000. That if you buy, that money then goes into the government's pocket. But yeah, so this was once again, actually one of the most popular news stories of the day. If this actually ends up going through, people will simply leave Portugal and go somewhere else. I told you all this before. It's not meant to be a joke. It's simply you can't tell people that they have to pay 0% and then all of a sudden go 28%, especially on like the 10% on free movement and also 4% if you have a broker. No one's going to reside in your country anymore. I don't know how to make that sound any nicer. Once again, I had tons of friends who've been like looking forward, especially for over the last 2 years. They weren't able to because of the situation we were all in. But yeah, very popular news or unpopular news, depends on how you look at it. We'll see if in the next 2 days they backtrack on this, because I assume they're going to get some pushback on this. But if they go through with it, bye-bye crypto haven. That's the Portugal is planning on imposing a 28% tax on crypto within their country news. Good luck. Let's move on. So I'm not understanding why this was also very popular news, but you know what? Sure. Why the fudge not? The Monetary Authority of Singapore, Singapore's central bank, has given in-principle approval to Coinbase. It is a legal license for Coinbase to offer cryptocurrency services in Singapore. There's the tweet for it right there. Coinbase officially announced the in-principle approval in its blog post. The post stated that with this approval, Coinbase would be able to provide digital payment token goods and services throughout the island nation. The exchange also remarked that on November 4th, during the Singapore FinTech Festival, the CEO and co-founder of Coinbase will participate in a fireside chat. Oh, those are always so cringy, like when they like sit side by side and like someone like, interviews them, but like they know all the questions that are already going to be coming to them. Like it's always very, very cringy. You know how like a lot of times we get news that like a country adopted Bitcoin, or like yesterday, which nobody paid attention to, that there are 12,000 companies in Brazil who own crypto, like really big news stories, and they only get like, there's one tab, like there's barely any stories on them. But then we get news that like Binance got a pedicure when they were in El Salvador while they were signing a piece of paperwork to be able to like work in the country. And that ends up being popular news. This is kind of the exact same thing. So while I think it's great for them that Coinbase got approval to work in Singapore, one of the most popular news stories of the day, it should not be. This was everywhere. And I don't even think many people actually care. Like even people in Singapore, I'm sure they're not throwing a parade being like, oh my gosh, guys, Coinbase is finally here. I can't believe it. I'm sure there's like 15 people who are happy today. But no, this was incredibly popular, and I just really want to understand why the crypto news is always like this. So anyway, much like Binance, who already is everywhere on the planet, Coinbase has finally received a stack of papers that says that they can do business in Singapore. Yeah, whoa, man, that's crazy. I'm sure they're happy. That's the Coinbase news. Yeah, see, all right. let's move on. All the rest of the news is kind of just weird, if you will. So apparently, the SEC only has 2 days to actually file a motion to the judge to try and get the judge to not do what the judge told them to do. Basically, and I'm going to wrap this up really quick. The SEC over the last 2 years, allegedly, from what we've been reading, has been very uncooperative with the Ripple team, who has basically only been asking, if you think XRP is a security, can you please give us documentation as to why? And the SEC has constantly gone, nope, not going to do it, for 2 years. Imagine asking someone a question and they keep saying nope over and over. You'd be pretty upset. So apparently the last motion that was filed, or rather the judge told the SEC that they had to unseal something called the Hinman documents, which basically explains why Bitcoin and Ethereum are not considered securities, because once we have this information, we will all know exactly what the metric is for something to not be a security. And therefore, Ripple will be able to base that next to XRP and say, you guys are jerks. Look, it's the exact same thing. So they only have 2 days left. Within those 2 days, the SEC will probably jump forward in the very last moment, as they've done before, and basically give a reasoning as to why they can't do it, or file a motion with the judge to try and extend their timeline. I don't know how can you be this corrupt? It's really insane. Like, in these documents, like, I mean, it's not even that they're not important. It's more so, if you are supposed to be protecting U.S. consumers, hand over the documents so every other company can know exactly what they need to do to make sure that they're not offering unregistered securities to Americans. It's very simple. Like, it's nothing, this isn't as complicated as you have been led to believe. It's simply the SEC, 2 years, imagine that. It's been 24 months plus that they refuse to hand over paperwork. So that's also in the news as well. Also, in what people try to make news, but this isn't news, for the love of goodness, if you could just read, just use the internet. It's not that difficult. Like, it's really, really not. Like, I used it. It took me about 14 seconds because I was like, oh, actually, that's completely wrong. A lot of people are trying to make it news that, one, not only is Elon Musk retrying to buy Twitter in good faith. No, it's because he knows that he's not going to win the lawsuit that is against him from Twitter shareholders after he tried to back out of the acquisition. But also in the news, for those of you not looking, it says a new entry in Elon Musk's Twitter acquisition is Binance. Binance plans to invest millions of dollars. Can any one single person, I know I can't hear you, but please just say it for the sake of saying it. Tell me why this is incorrect. I know somebody said it. I gave you a digital high five. Give me one back, unless you're like driving or something very important. Yep, earlier this year, we already knew that. This is an article from the 5th of May. Once again, May 5th, earlier this year, not the 11th of October. It is the 5th of May, 2022. When we first heard that Elon Musk was thinking about buying Twitter, Changpeng Zhao came forward immediately and said that he wanted to also buy a fraction of Twitter as well by putting up $500 million. Once again, what's on the screen right now is old news. What's on the screen right now is the news that came out today that everyone was trying to make it seem like it just happened right now, that Changpeng Zhao was like, whoa, I also need to work for Web3. If you have not been paying attention, Binance is trying to own everything. Not some things. They want to own every single thing on this planet, at least fractions of it. And this is why they're also trying to acquire a portion of Twitter. So the news is, people tried to make it seem like Binance just randomly came out of nowhere trying to also pat Elon Musk on the back. No, it's money. It's always money. It has to do with nothing but tons of money. Money, 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 like I always say. Anyway, that's nope, this isn't brand new news. We knew this news for a while news since May. Did you all think that Elon Musk was putting all that money up himself? He doesn't have that much liquid cash. That's the Binance news. And let's move on. Also, geez, there was so much like people trying to make something out of nothing news today. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says all you need to know about Cathie Wood's appeal to the Fed. Nothing. There's nothing that you actually need to know. Cathie Woods is one of the largest advocates of cryptocurrencies in the cryptocurrency world. She believes in Bitcoin. She believes in decentralization. She believes in all this other stuff. And I believe she also owns tons of Bitcoin herself, as does her company. I think it's called Arkwood or Wood Ark. I don't really know or care. She basically announced, as everyone else has, hey, Federal Reserve, you got to stop raising your interest rates because you're destroying the economy. And a lot of people think now within the next 6 months that we are actually going to be in a recession, like a recession, like not like a, not a downturn in the market, but like a proper recession if the Fed keeps doing what they're doing. And she came out basically saying the exact same thing. So there's nothing really that you need to know. She didn't do anything any different than the UN did or every other country has been doing for the last couple of weeks. It's just that people, I guess, look up to her because she's a crypto head. It's not a saying, but I feel like people are calling each other crypto heads at this point. Yeah. So that's all you need to know, is that basically she said what everyone else was saying and basically predicted that the markets are also going to continue falling if the Fed does. But I've done that. I mean, that's basic economics right there. So, yeah. There was so much news like, man, this is crazy. Did you see what happened? Oh, they said the same thing? Well, what about them? Did you hear what they also said the same thing? Yeah, it's just, everyone's kind of just going in this really weird loop right now. Anyway, that's the Cathie Woods appeal to the Federal Reserve news. Wow, can't believe she said that. So brave. So brave. Let's move on. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, GBU Wally, Datha Diddy, Manny Cryptos, Crypto Gambino, Bubble Mode, How's Life Austin, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, Blockchain Simplified, and let's move on, Empire Queen, Roman Gaba, Bitcoin Ben, Arachno Dave, Tony Ambroski, The Dealer's Den, Captain Something, and the Z-Way Lay, Mobarazi, VB Nerd, 21, Miguel Grelay, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Pat Ternoster, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Martin Stoyo, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cold T3D, Satsuna, Richie Rich III, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger, Machanisa, All Crypto with Lionel, and Crayola Michelle, URL. Thank you all very, very much for your continued support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel. Thank you to everyone who left a like, comment, or subscribed at the moment. Bitcoin is at $19,114. It is down by 0.68%. That's what I'm talking about. Like, we could totally be down by like 7% right now, but Bitcoin's relatively stable. I don't know what to make of it. I'm a little scared. I don't know what to think. Ethereum is currently down by 1.6 percentile points. XRP is down by 5. I assume this is off the back of it raising by, 33% over the course of like 2 weeks. So the logical movement down. Cardano is down by 4.6%. Solana is down by 3. So I don't know how Solana is not down by 90%. I just really don't understand how people aren't understanding what currently has. Anyway, Shiba Inu is down by 4.91%. Avalanche is down by 3 percentile points. OKB is up by 1.29. Litecoin is down by 2. Chainlink is down by 2. Cosmos is down by 3. Ethereum Classic is down by 7. Ooh, that's a mighty big drop. Assumption here. A lot of it probably has to do with the lack of momentum from the Ethereum thing, with a lot of people believing that people who had mining machines would be turning on their machines for Ethereum Classic. I don't think it actually ended up happening, or didn't happen as in force as people thought it was going to. Near Protocol is down by 7 percentile points. Quant is up by 4%. Luna Classic is down by 7 as well. Flow is down by 4. ApeCoin is kind of going sideways, if you will. XCN chain, I don't know what that is up by, oh my gosh, they only have a $5 million trading volume. Never mind. Internet Computer is down by 7. Internet Computer is the dumbest name ever. Is down by 7 percentile points. Mana and Sand are both down by 3% as well. EOS is down by 4%. Pa-da-pa-pa-da-pa. Yep. So, once again, don't hold your breath for this week. Maybe wait till like sometime next week to be like, oh, crypto might go higher. Because it's probably not going to be this week. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.